Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. There's been lots that have been happening this week. So since the last monthly pulse, we've released two versions and we're about to release a third. From the two versions, we have 93 changes. Those changes are performance optimization updates, new features, some bugs fixed. So there's been a ton of work that has gone into the last two updates over the last month. You can always check out all the release notes if you just go to the repository and click on the releases. It'll give you a pretty great summary about everything that's been going on. Just a reminder that first the work goes into the Stager branch and then the master branch. The master branch is what we treat as the deploy branch. So that's why you might see more activity in the Stager branch, not the master. And with that, the first thing that we want to go over is all of the engineering efforts that have already gone into the last two versions. So from the engineering efforts, I'll let Jason kind of walk through that. But we have verified assets that will be shipped in version 6 of Ironfish, so the next version. Jason, do you want to explain more about what verified assets is?
Yeah, so verified assets is kind of like a simple feature, but if you look at our assets on our Block Explorer, you'll notice that people are minting, let's say, like a dollar iron asset, which they're free to do. Like, asset names aren't unique. But because of that, it's possible for someone to send you an asset that looks like what you expect it to be, but actually is kind of like an asset that you wouldn't expect. So if you pay me in, let's say, JSON coin, someone else can mint a JSON coin and send you JSON coin. And the problem is you think, oh, I've been paid in JSON coin, so now I can give you this slice of pizza, except for the issue is they've actually given you a fake, or not a fake, just a JSON coin that you didn't expect. And so verified assets is a feature where the node will sync what we're calling a verified asset list from a centralized source. And so there's a couple caveats with this. One, with any system in our node that pulls data from a centralized source, it is always configurable and always disableable. What this means is you actually can customize it to point at your own verified asset list if you so desire, but by default, you're actually pulling from the official API over HTTPS to get Ironfish's verified asset list. And likewise, those same verified assets also show up in our Block Explorer when you look at assets as well. So those two match. The spec for the verified asset, it's pretty simple, so anyone should be able to build their own API that returns a verified asset list. But the benefit now is that when you are using the CLI, you'll see the asset name will be green with a check mark if it is in your verified asset list. So now when you're basically checking your balance, you're setting transactions, anywhere you see an asset name, if it's green, that's basically in your verified asset list, which is a trusted set of assets from Ironfish. If you want to apply to have your asset on Ironfish's official verified asset list, just reach out to us in our outreach channel and we can start that discussion. But right now, there's like a very few. I think right now it's only the official Iron asset in the layer 1 as a verified asset. Yeah, so that actually is shipping in our next version, which is 1.6.0. And it's also not in the Node app yet. So this will only be shipping to the CLI in the next version, but it is not yet hitting the Node app if you use that. However, if you're always unsure, you can just pop over and check that asset in the Block Explorer if you're using the Node app. So pretty excited to get that out. And that's also a big feature from our new engineer, Andrea, as well. I'm going to pass it over to Matt to talk about some of the optimization work that we've actually released.
Thanks, Jason. Verified assets is pretty exciting. So what have we been working on the performance side? I think the last call, I mentioned that we were working on this, and we have shipped some small things here and there, but the big one I wanted to talk about is what we're calling blasters. What it is we changed sort of the underlying libraries we're using to calculate a lot of our cryptography stuff. And this one is dramatically faster. I think transaction creation is now 10 to 15% faster, and transaction verification is somewhere in the realm of 2 to 3 times faster, which is a huge speed increase. And on top of that, sometime in the future, we're going to be shipping like sort of an improved version of that, which will include even better performance for CPUs that support like newer performance things. So keep an eye out for that. It's a lot of really exciting stuff. I'm really excited to see the performance increasing like this. Yeah. So I guess I'll pass it back to Jason to talk about automated perf infrastructure.
Oh yeah. So our engineer, our engineer Yajun actually spent a lot of time on automated perf infrastructure. So in crypto, right, generally you need to kind of constantly monitor your performance. It's possible to check in some changes that degrade your perf, or you add some new feature that suddenly is degrading your perf. And a lot of crypto projects are kind of famous for flying by the seat of their pants. And that they're just checking in changes, and you just really want to safeguard against performance degradation as well as regressions in features. And so now we actually have, every time a change is checked in a staging, a large myriad of performance tests are automatically run, and their performance data is actually automatically submitted to a time series database. So it's possible for the team to actually view that time series database in tons and tons of charts to examine if there's regressions and when those regressions occurred on what commit. So Ironfish is really, really invested into building the automated infrastructure necessary to like making sure we're shipping a high quality product. Especially like, you know, I come from a tools background, and I think you have to defend yourself pretty early from these things. And it's good to know as soon as possible. You know, there's the famous G.I. Joe quote that's knowing is half the battle. And building these types of automated tooling is important to knowing. So I want to thank Yajun for kind of putting all that hard work into the infrastructure. I will say, unfortunately, that infrastructure is not public right now, so we can't divulge that data. It is public that you can actually look at the actions and you can get the data, but the dashboards themselves aren't public. We are looking into that in a future kind of effort, potentially, to kind of figure out how to surface that data and those dashboards to everyone so they can see it more easily. But it's mainly because Influx doesn't allow anonymous access. So, but it's very cool to start looking at that data, especially because after Matt's change, we were able to see after his check into staging, there was a defined increase in performance, which was great. So yeah, thank you, Yajun. And I want to pass it off to Joe to talk about some changes in our SDK.
Thanks. Yeah, so the first thing we're going to talk about is we recently did a sort of update to our account system. Previously, a lot of people have mentioned that dealing with the separate encodings of the accounts, for example, Bech32 or JSON or just the spending key, the only way to get those into the node previously was via the CLI. You could not do that via the SDK or the RPC, and there was actually some external tools built to do that. So we actually sort of took in some of the CLI code and put it inside of the SDK. So now that functionality is available both through the SDK and the RPC. And that means that there should be no need for external dependencies for importing and exporting wallets in any of the supported formats. Yeah, and I guess there's a second project that I was going to be talking about, which is these binaries that we've been building for the Ironfish CLI. So any one of you who's installed Ironfish to this point in your command line has used npm likely to install. There's various degrees of problem that occur as a result of that, particularly with Windows users. And so we are actually releasing prepackaged binaries now with each of our releases, so that you can just download a binary that's ready to run. There's no need to install Node or NPM or any of the packages. It should just run automatically in your terminal with the binary. We're releasing this for a Linux distribution, Windows, and both versions of Mac as well. So we'll give you more updates about that soon, but we just wanted to tell you guys that this is coming along, and that should make the node easier to run for for anyone trying to do this. And the other use case for this is actually self-custody for offline signing. So anyone who wants to have a computer that's not connected to the network, but wants to sign their transactions, they can actually, instead of having to like move all of the dependencies from a different computer onto theirs, they can just copy the binary, sign their transactions, and then copy the transaction back over so they can have an air-gapped machine doing their signing. Yeah, those are the updates from me, and I think the next person is going to be Dan, who is going to give you some updates on the Node app.
Wait, Joe, you're telling me right now I can go to GitHub and download a brand new standalone released Ironfish that doesn't rely on Node or NPM or anything
That's
now?
right, Jason.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very exciting.
Yeah, if you want to try it out, we've released the first version of this. If you go to the 1.5.0 release, on that page, you can find the binary that's used for your system. And let us know please in Discord, if there's any problems, feel free to reach out and let us know.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about just some of the feedback that we've gotten for the Node app. And I want to start off by saying, like, thank you so much to everyone who's downloaded it and used the Node app so far. There's been over 2,000 installs, which is awesome. We're really happy with the reception that we've gotten. A lot of you have said some like super nice things on Twitter, Discord, and like other channels as well. Like generally we're hearing people like it. But like that said, you know, we'd love to keep improving it and we could definitely use your help. A couple of days ago, Skylar put out a message in announcements with a Google form to collect feedback. And we've gotten some responses, which have been awesome. But we would love to get more, so we actually know what you guys want us to build. So I'm going to drop a link to that form in the chat. And if you use the Node app, we'd love it if you could fill it out. And also, this is like a new thing, but if you drop your Ethereum address or like ENS name in the last question, Skylar's going to be putting together like a one-of-one NFT that you could win. So if you like his work, which personally I'm a huge fan of, like he does like all the illustrations on the Ironfish website and throughout like the Node app, then yeah, you could win a Skylar piece from our designer. If you already filled out the form and you did not include your Ethereum address, just fill it out again and make a note that you're resubmitting because you didn't include that previously. And yeah, just make sure to include that Ethereum address or ENS name. So yeah, again, thanks to everybody that has downloaded the Node app. We appreciate you using it. We appreciate the feedback, and we can't wait to just keep improving it. So with that, I believe the next person up to bat is going to be Rohan, who's going to talk about the standalone wallet project.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the upcoming engineering work, specifically the standalone wallet. So right now, if you all are running Ironfish, you probably have seen that running a node is coupled to having a wallet that's directly attached to it. So one of the efforts that we're going to be working on over the next couple of weeks is supporting a standalone wallet. So what this will mean is you can connect to some remote node that's hosting an RPC somewhere, and you don't necessarily need to run a full node on your machine. And we hope that this will help with performance if some people have more like hardware constraints or something like that. But we hope to ship this out probably in the next like 1 to 2 months. After this, I also wanted to give a quick mention that we are going to be looking at a wallet server. So we saw some questions in Discord where people were asking about a mobile wallet. And there's a couple of engineers who are working on that. So this will be supporting like having a light client with a hosted server that will just return like some encrypted nodes and nullifiers so a wallet can connect to it directly. And hopefully this helps with some mobile wallets or other third-party wallets who are trying to integrate with us. I think Jason said he had some questions about this that he wanted to mention.
Well, Rohan, I think we had a question earlier that was like, are we working on kind of syncing, obviously Ironfish to mobile? And there are some kind of challenges that. Can you speak to some of the challenges of syncing to mobile and what this standalone wallet will help with?
Yeah, so I mean, I think there's a couple of challenges. So one is, right now there's a dependency on running a full node, and there's like a lot of hardware requirements for doing that, and generally you can't do that on a mobile wallet. you don't want to keep like a copy of the full node and having to validate every single block that comes. So as part of this, running a standalone wallet will kind of get us one step closer to having a light client that can be supported on mobile wallets where they don't need to do that. And they just reference like a lighter version of a node, which just gives them the transactions to decrypt locally.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. I'll hand it over to Matt, who's going to be talking about some more upcoming engineering work.
Thanks, Rohan. So one thing we are going to start working on, or are starting to work on right now, is what we're calling asset security. So what does that mean? That's basically, right now, there's no good way to protect an asset once you've created it. Like if the key is leaked or something, you're just kind of, the private key that owns the asset is leaked, you just kind of don't have any like way to fix that. So we're going to be posting a discourse proposal very soon about our first plan to improve this, to allow basically an asset owner to rotate their keys for like better security. And this is very important, I think, because we want to invite, or we want to make it attractive for bridge operators to create bridges to bridge assets onto Ironfish, which we think is such an exciting feature. So keep an eye out for that. It should be posted within the next couple days. It's very cool. And now I'll pass it over to Daniel, who's going to talk about mining.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I think we have a lot of mining updates here. So first I want to talk about the unknown hash rate that a lot of people have been talking about in the Discord. So what the team is, we know that this is not ideal, that we don't know where the hash rate is coming from. And I want to say that it is actually very difficult to ever know where an unknown hash rate is coming from in any network. I think the best that you can do is analyze gossip messages in the network, which we do through telemetry, to see where these unknown blocks are coming from. And we've done some initial analysis of that and haven't seen any patterns on where the blocks are coming from, but that's certainly not conclusive. But as Matt and Rohan just mentioned, we have like a lot of other projects that are going on that we're doing that are related to bridging and helping improve wallets. So we're not prioritizing figuring out this unknown hash rate for now. We do have monitors around whether we see any sort of like 51% attack. So we do know that there hasn't been any 51% attack from the unknown hash rate, and we will know at any point in the future if that happens. So I think hopefully that will let people rest easy a little bit. And the other point that I think the other reason that people are concerned about the unknown hash rate is because they suspect that maybe it's ASICs contributing to the unknown hash rate. So first, we have no evidence to suggest that there's ASICs on our network. And I think it's very, very unlikely that there are ASICs, since they require a very large investment upfront that probably would not happen with a network of our maturity. But also to that point, I think the team and the foundation has been talking about ASICs in general and whether we want to do something to disincentivize ASICs from the network. And we've heard a lot of good arguments for that. And we do agree that having a network without ASICs probably would be the healthiest solution for us. So that doesn't mean necessarily changing to a ASIC resistant hashing algorithm, but that does mean changing our hashing algorithm in general. So we haven't decided what that algorithm would be, but we think even if we just change the hashing algorithm, that should be enough disincentivization for ASICs in the network overall. So we don't have a discussion up on our Discourse website for this yet, but we'll put one up there so that the community can discuss and we can weigh pros and cons of hashing algorithms. So hopefully that's good news for our current miners. I was just looking at a few comments. Yeah, somebody mentioned FPGAs are on the network. And yes, we do know that FGPAs are on the network, but FGPAs are very different than ASICs and definitely don't provide the same amount of performance increase. There's one more mining update I wanted to give. So we've seen one other way that we could make it a little bit easier to identify blocks in the network would be to make our graffiti fields readable. Right now, our graffiti fields and blocks are not readable because of a mining optimization that most miners are using. So we're considering bringing that into our next and possibly first hard fork. And along with that, we also have this negative timestamp issue where block timestamps can be behind the previous block, which is not a security concern, but it does look a little strange in the block explorer. So we prioritize that work as well. So those are two changes that might be coming.
Yeah, and you should expect to see those in the new governance model that will also be discussed. Well, it's already been discussed in our blog, but these changes won't be surprises as well. Like they'll be publicly surfaced before the work begins.
Okay, so I'll pass this on to who's next here.
Thank you,
Elena, who's going to talk about governments and FIPS.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. So just a few updates on the governance side. We have published the FIPS process. So FIPS stands for Fish Improvement Proposal. You can go check it out at fips.ironfish.network. And right now it is empty, but it does describe the process for what FIPS, for what the FIP process will look like. We have opened up the governance proposal as well. So if you don't like the process for FIPS, then you are more than welcome to kind of describe your alternative. Right now, we kind of have been mirroring a lot of what Ethereum is doing in terms of the process, and we simplified some of the steps to make it a little bit easier for us. But in terms of the actual process, if you're familiar with the Ethereum ecosystem, then this should be familiar to you as well. So again, you can check it out at fips.ironfish.network. We have asked for proposals on the governance process, and we have one person who has made a really great post. It's Matt Luongo, who's here in this channel. We are looking at it. If you guys have questions about it, if you have questions to him specifically, feel free to use the discourse channel in particular to flesh out some of those questions and ideas. We will also be obviously starting a new discourse thread around the hashing algorithm, and we do see this obviously as a way of governance in terms of what the future of the protocol will be. So once we open that up, we'll make an announcement on the Discord channel, so you can reply to that thread with your ideas. I know there's been a lot of ideas going around on the mining Discord channel, and I want to make sure that we save all those thoughts and ideas on the discourse thread. Cool. We will also be releasing the grants process soon. I know that we've been saying that for quite some time, but we are getting much more closer to it, so stay tuned. And with that, I'm going to give it to Jason to talk about our bug bounty program.
The bug bounty program. Everybody has one, and these are incredible tools for white hackers to actually basically get paid for their efforts discovering key and critical bugs. So we actually officially just launched our HackerOne hosted bug bounty program. And I want to talk about this a little bit. One, because we actually haven't launched this in a blog or anything yet. but we're going to be marketing and putting this on our website. But I'll also link access to the HackerOne program. So what is the purpose of using the HackerOne program? Because most people just host their own, but we decided to go with HackerOne for a few reasons. One, they provide safe harbor to hackers, which basically gives them protection from external entities like Ironfish, and we think that's really important. Two, HackerOne participated and did the payouts on behalf of Facebook I think in the last maybe 5 to 6 years over an RCE exploit. So they're actually extremely reputable company with brokering between technology projects like ours and hackers. And so I think they have an extreme amount of trust in the white hat community. So what is a bug bounty program? Bug bounty program basically lets you find certain whitelisted and in-scope exploits, and you basically get paid in cash, USD, for those fines. And we're actually starting our program fairly small. We're going to just at first only allow certain exploits like de-anonymization attacks, double spends, RCEs, the ability to RCE through RPC, and all of that will be documented in our policy and our in-scope list on HackerOne. Unfortunately, you have to create an account to actually see the program, which is just a side effect of HackerOne. So we'll be linking that information, and it'll also get linked on our website pretty soon. But we hope that people who are interested in security and do find bugs and issues in the network, they do use this avenue to try to make Ironfish better. And they also get rewarded in the process. If you think that you have a key or critical security bug that is not in scope, please escalate that to security@ironfish.network. You can use reach out or ping one of us in Discord, and we can escalate to support ticket. Obviously, please don't disclose those security issues directly in Discord, but escalate it to us as soon as possible, and we'll take a look at it and see if it fits a category that we're not yet paying out for, but we should. So we hope that, we honestly, to be frank, we hope that we actually never get a report. But if there are security issues, we do hope that you do report through them and then get paid in the process. So that's all about HackerOne. I'm going to pass it along to Audie to talk about the community, unless you wanted to mention something, Elaine, about this.
Oh, I just wanted to make a really quick note. If you do find a bug in Ironfish, please use the bug bounty. Do not make it publicly available on the FIPS website, because that will reveal the bug for others to exploit. So please use the HackerOne for any drastic bugs. Okay, cool. Audie, now over to you.
Right. So yeah, thanks everyone. First off, I just wanted to bring your attention to, in case you missed it, we've launched a bunch of community blog posts, community highlights about pools that are mining pools that work in our ecosystem. So for example, we wrote one about ZK Work, which is incredible community of high functioning GPU setups all across Asia, Europe, and America. And we also have DX Pool, who's been a part of the ecosystem since last year. We also did a community spotlight on OreoScan, which is a small community which created the Explorer for Ironfish network last year and has been since really active. And all of these people, the pools, they want to contribute to the network, and OreoScan had the vision that privacy is important. So we really appreciate all the community members who make such an impact on the network. So if at all you know anyone who should be highlighted, please feel free to tag me and share more about them. You can also email us. So we are always open to sharing, because this is a open source network. We want to highlight people who contribute towards the network's well-being and growth. Also, I just wanted to highlight that we've also had the wallet launch last month, and just wanted to thank everyone who's done a video explaining the Node Wallet app to others around them. So I'm just sharing the message once again. So thank you to Digital Spaceport and Rabbit Mining and everyone else who's done this. If at all you've created a video in your native language, be it Russian, Chinese, or any other, please do let me know so that we can compile a list of such videos so that people can refer to it whenever they would like to. Yeah, and once again, we have the survey form out. I've just shared it in announcement once again. And if you participate, then one of you stands to win an NFT. And yes, Kaila's NFTs are incredible. So if you have time and you've tried the wallet app, then please do fill the form. If you have not tried, then do try it and then fill the form. Thank you so much. Yeah, back to Elena, I think. Back to Jason for the ecosystem highlight. Thank you.
IF Labs is hiring. If you're really interested in joining, please reach out through iflabs.network career page. I know IF Labs is obviously potentially one of many people contributing to Ironfish, but I'm going to use this moment to get up on my soapbox as one of the companies that support Ironfish and say, if you love Ironfish, you should reach out and apply. Looking for cryptographers, looking for senior engineers. Would love to hear from you. So just reach out at any time. And I think that's all. I'll leave it to Elena.
Awesome. Yeah, and this concludes our Discord. We just get some requests to kind of translate this. So we'll try to maybe have some notes that will be translated, but all of these updates will be updated or uploaded to our YouTube channel. So you can always come back to this later. And I think that's it. I just want to highlight how much work has gone into since our last update. There's been so much engineering effort that's going forward. Our community is growing. Our community feels really good right now. So I really genuinely want to thank everyone who is here. This feels like quite an amazing spot to work in and to see kind of Ironfish grow. So thank you all so much. And with that, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you enjoy your weekend. And we'll see you next month. Again, we're always here. We're always in the general channel. If you have questions around anything, if you have any feature requests, we're always here. All right. And with that, I think we can conclude this. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.